Maple blood. You ever notice how every small town's got that one house, the one people cross the street to avoid? Well, in Maple Hollow, that house sat at the end of a maple-lined road, so red in the fall it looked like the trees were bleeding. I grew up there, on the same street, actually. My name's Eli Harrow, 38, divorced, 2 missed mortgage payments, and a past I'd rather not talk about. I'm not special, just another guy trying to make sense of bad luck and worse timing. I fix old houses for a living, peeling paint, warped floors, roofs that sigh when the wind moves through. Sometimes I swear I can feel them breathing under my hands, like they're alive. Maybe that's why I never fixed that house. The one at the end of the road. The one folks called the Marston place, though the Marstons were long gone. No one lived there for 20 years. The windows were black with dust, the porch slanted like a drunk trying to remember which way was home. But every fall, right about the same week, the air turned sharp and the first frost painted the fields silver. You could smell it, sweet, metallic, like rust and syrup, maple sap, and something else. The trees around the Marston house turned red earlier than the others. Crimson, almost wet-looking. The leaves clung to their branches longer too, as if the trees didn't want to let go. Folks said the roots ran deep, tangled with things better left buried. When I was 10, I dreamed I was walking past that house, the leaves crunching under my feet like dry bones, and I heard a whisper. Blood remembers. Never made sense. Not until last fall, when the trees started bleeding for real. It began small, a sticky red sap dripping from the trunks like tears. People said it was a fungus. The forestry guys came, poked around, shrugged, left. They said words like anthocyanin and seasonal stress. Science talk meant to calm us down, but you can't science away dread. Not when the sap started to smell like pennies and old rain. Then the pets started disappearing. Cats, dogs, a goat from old Mrs. Callahan's yard. Then a boy, Tommy Keller, vanished on his walk home from school. The whole town turned out with flashlights and dogs and prayers. The woods swallowed them whole for 3 days before spitting out Tommy's backpack, slick with that same red sap, under one of the oldest maples near the Marston place. That's when I saw it. A pulse, just once but clear, like something alive was breathing under the bark. The tree shuddered, just barely, as if it recognized me. I told myself it was stress, lack of sleep, maybe the whiskey I'd been nursing since the divorce. But every night the whisper came closer, a voice that knew my name, threading through the maple branches outside my bedroom window. Blood remembers, Eli. Then came the attic box. It was wedged behind insulation and old Christmas junk, one of those things you know wasn't there before. Inside, yellowed newspaper clippings, all about something called the Maple Street Massacre, dated 1897. A family murdered in their sleep, throats cut, blood drained, bodies found beneath a cluster of maples said to weep crimson in the morning light. At the bottom of the box, a photograph, sepia tone, edges curled with time. My great-grandfather, Samuel Harrow, standing in front of one of those same trees, the bark behind him dark and wet like it had just fed. He's smiling. That's the part that keeps me awake, the smile. Not forced, not hollow, proud, like a man posing with something he made. The next morning, I woke to find footprints in the maple leaves outside my house, bare feet, small, like a child's. They led to my porch, then to the steps, and there, smeared across the doorframe, was a streak of that same red sap, still warm to the touch. By Halloween, the whole town reeked of iron and rot. You couldn't step outside without feeling it coat your tongue, that sweet metallic heaviness that clung to the air like a fever dream. The leaves had turned so dark they looked black under the streetlights, slick with something that wasn't dew. I couldn't stay away anymore. Not with the dreams twisting tighter around my nights, not with that whisper curling through my skull. Blood remembers. So I went back to the Marston house. The place felt alive before I even reached it. The air vibrated low, hungry. The front door hung half off its hinges, and from inside came that sound. Not a hum exactly, more like the steady, slow heartbeat of the earth. Down in the cellar, my flashlight flickered. That's when I saw them. The roots. They weren't roots anymore. They were veins, thick cords of dark wood pumping with sap that gleamed red under the beam of my light. They coiled around the foundation stones like muscles, crawling upward, pulsing in rhythm with that heartbeat. Then the walls began to sweat, thick red droplets sliding down the plaster, tracing trails like tears. I took a step forward and froze. Faces, dozens of them, stretching through the bark, trapped in the twisting grain, eyes open, mouths moving soundlessly. And then one of them spoke. Eli. Tommy Keller's voice, high and trembling. His small face pressed into the wood like something half remembered by the earth. My knees gave out. I fell against the wall, hand on the bark, and it answered. The memories rushed through me like fire through dry leaves. Every scream, every drop of blood that had ever soaked into the soil of Maple Hollow. The trees remembered everything. And at the center of it all was him, my great-grandfather, Samuel Harrow, axe in hand, laughing as the trees drank, feeding them, binding them, giving them a part of himself. That's when it hit me, why the trees whispered to me, why the sap ran thicker each fall. I wasn't just a bystander, I was an heir. And now they wanted me to finish what he began. The roots tightened around my ankles, the walls groaned. Feed us, they whispered. And for the first time, I almost said yes. I burned that house down. Didn't think, didn't plan, just acted. The smell of gas filled the air like bitter courage. I splashed it over the floorboards, the roots, the walls that pulsed like veins under skin. When I struck the match, I swear the house shuddered, like it knew what was coming. The flames roared up fast, hungry, alive. They raced along the roots, climbed the walls, burst through the windows like wings of light. I stumbled out into the yard, choking on smoke and ash, watching the sky bloom orange and red. It looked like the dawn of a new world. The trees screamed. You can call me crazy, but they screamed. The sound tore through the night, low and human and endless. Leaves fluttered down around me, each one curling into black ash before it hit the ground. I thought I'd done it. I thought I'd ended the curse. By morning, the fire was out. The ground steamed. The air stank of death and rain. I walked back down Maple Hollow Road, expecting to see a skeleton of what once was a ruin, finally quiet. But the house stood there, whole, not even singed. The wood was darker, slicker, almost breathing. And the trees, God, the trees. Their trunks had changed. The red sap that once dripped like tears now ran thicker, almost black, pulsing in slow, steady beats. The roots had spread overnight. I could see them pushing through the pavement, cracking the road open like bone. That's when Sheriff Mullen found me standing there, holding the empty gas can. He looked at me like a man looks at a ghost. Eli, he said, you all right? I didn't answer. Couldn't. Because when I turned to face him, I saw it, on his hand, a smear of that dark sap. He must have brushed against a tree on the way in. And the way his skin pulsed beneath it, just faintly like something living inside, made my stomach turn cold. The town tried to move on, tried to pretend it was over, but the trees had already begun their slow crawl outward, cracking driveways, twisting fences, creeping toward the heart of Maple Hollow. And me? I could feel it inside me too, a heartbeat that wasn't mine, faint but growing stronger. I left Maple Hollow the next day. Didn't pack much, just what fit in the back of my truck. The rest I left behind. The house, the debts, the whispers. Drove until the air stopped smelling like rust and memory. Ended up 2 states over, in a quiet town where the trees were pine instead of maple, where the nights didn't hum beneath the skin. Found a small rental, steady work repairing fences and porches. I told myself I'd finally outrun it. That some things, if you drive far enough and pray hard enough, can't follow you. For a while it even felt true. My dreams went quiet. My hands stopped trembling. I started sleeping through the night again. Almost believed I'd burned that curse to ash. Then, last week, my new neighbor showed up. Nice guy, one of those eternal optimists with a sunburned grin. Said he was doing some landscaping and had an extra sapling. Thought I might want one for my yard. He handed it to me in a black plastic pot. Maple, he said. Good soil, hardy roots, grows fast. I froze. Couldn't even breathe for a moment. But I didn't want to seem crazy, so I smiled, thanked him, set it by the porch. That night, I went to plant it. The shovel hit the dirt with a dull thud, and I tipped the sapling out of its pot. The roots spilled free, pale and thick, curling like veins. One of them split against the metal of the shovel, and what seeped out wasn't sap. It was dark, thick, warm blood. And for just a moment, before the wind picked up, I thought I heard it again, the whisper threading through the leaves that hadn't even unfurled yet. Blood remembers. I stared at that tiny tree under the porch light, the earth beneath it pulsing, breathing. Then I went inside, locked the door, and started packing, again. So maybe you don't believe me. Maybe it's just a story to you. But if you ever see red sap on a maple tree, don't touch it, because blood remembers, and sometimes it remembers you. If you enjoyed this story and want more dark tales like Maple Blood, make sure to like this video. It really helps the channel grow and keeps these stories reaching new listeners. Subscribe for daily storytelling content and share this video with someone who loves a good scare. Thanks for listening and watching. There's another story waiting for you on your screen right now. I'll see you back here tomorrow, if the trees let you.